A major piece of news is circulating: could men eventually disappear from Earth, leaving only women behind? You might ask, why such a gloomy thought? But scientists are raising concerns about the Y chromosome, which determines whether a person will be male. The Y chromosome is under threat. But what exactly is a chromosome, and why is this such a big deal? These are the questions we'll explore in today's session. There's news that the Y chromosome, which determines the male gender, is gradually disappearing. If the Y chromosome vanishes, does that mean men will also disappear in the future? This session is dedicated to understanding these concepts. We'll dive into what the Y chromosome is, how gender is determined, what the SRY gene is, and how it influences male development. We'll also discuss the hormones involved. We'll take a scientific approach to explore these topics in depth. Headlines around the world are claiming that the human Y chromosome is on the verge of extinction. However, there's still a glimmer of hope, though how reliable that hope is remains to be seen. We'll discuss this in today's session. As I mentioned earlier, understanding chromosomes is crucial. So, before delving into the news, let's first understand what chromosomes are. The Y chromosome, which determines sex in humans and mammals, is slowly degenerating and is predicted to disappear entirely in a few million years. Some of you might think, well, millions of years are still left, what's there to worry about? But the concern arises because human evolution itself spans millions of years. Any transition, even if it happens over millennia, impacts our species. A 2020 study examined what happens when there's an SRY deficiency and how it affects sex determination. The Y chromosome, which is generally smaller than other chromosomes, is shrinking. You might know that humans have 46 chromosomes arranged in 23 pairs. Of these, 22 pairs, 40 for chromosomes, are common to both males and females. The remaining 2 are the sex chromosomes, 20 for females and XY for males. The Y chromosome carries the SRY gene, which is essential for male development. However, this gene is gradually disappearing, making it difficult for the X and Y chromosomes to function together. If this continues, men may eventually disappear, leaving only XX chromosomes, meaning only women would remain. But if only women remain, human civilization could eventually die out, as both males and females are necessary for reproduction. The question then arises, if men disappear, how will future generations be born? Some argue that certain species, like certain reptiles and lizards, can reproduce asexually, with only females giving birth without needing a Y chromosome. But can women eventually develop the ability to reproduce without men? These are speculative questions, and science may one day provide answers. Let's first understand chromosomes a bit more. Human cells can be categorized into prokaryotic and eukaryotic types. We belong to the eukaryotic category, meaning our cells have a nucleus containing nucleic material. Chromosomes, composed of proteins and DNA, are structured in a way that can be observed under a microscope. They carry a vast amount of genetic material, and genes are located on these chromosomes. For example, the Y chromosome has about 213 genes, which are responsible for storing and transmitting genetic information. Our physical traits, such as eye color, are determined by genes, which are stored in chromosomes. Genes can be thought of as packets of DNA that hold our genetic code. The traits we see, known as phenotypes, are the visible characteristics, while the underlying genetic code is referred to as the genotype. The SRY gene on the Y chromosome plays a crucial role in determining male sex by activating another gene known as SOX9, which triggers male development. If the Y chromosome, and thus the SRY gene, disappears, it could result in the end of male development as we know it. But the story doesn't end here. Scientists are exploring the possibility of other genes taking over the role of the SRY gene. For instance, a rodent species in Japan known as the spiny rat has developed an alternative gene that can induce male development even in the absence of the Y chromosome. This discovery suggests that even if the Y chromosome disappears, evolution might find another way to ensure male development. So, does this mean that in the future, a different gene might take over the role of the SRY gene in determining sex? It's possible, but there's a lot of uncertainty. While such a scenario has been observed in rodents, it's unclear whether the same could happen in humans or other mammals. If different species start developing different mechanisms for sex determination, the world could become a much more diverse and unpredictable place.